Okay, let's go again on IM2148. Let's stick with the Grand Prix attack system. So he's at the moment below 2200. It is tough on this auto pairing. You can get absolutely caned some days. It really depends on the day, and I think your mood and energy levels and luck as well comes in. A bit of luck. External to the game positions, I mean luck as in other sort of factors. So, okay, I'm tucking that bishop, hoping to recover my rating if nothing else, and to play an interesting game here. So Queen H4, there's Knight E4. If I just take here, okay. So maybe Bishop D2, maybe it's Bishop A5, Bishop B4. These are interesting possibilities as well. But usually just F5 and stuff. Queen F2 though, I don't know. I don't like Knight G4. So maybe Queen G3 here, or F5. Maybe F5 now. Just trying to wrench open. Mind you, I just realised Knight takes E4 is embarrassing. It's justifying that Queen. Whoops. He could play that and he could win E2. Okay, I'm in for a ride here. Okay, should we get this king out? Or Knight F4, Knight G3, Knight G3, or Knight F4? Decisions. Knight F4 might be the more aggressive, but it does lose that F5 pawn. Knight G3 doesn't have so much bite to it. King H1 looks a bit poxy. I don't know. I think Bishop D2 accepts this tactic. Okay. I don't know. Basically, I'll try this and accept that tactic, because this is really annoying. How can I defend C2 against Rook C8? I've got to be able to play Rook C1, surely. So this is a okay. Let's get this king out of here and then play Knight F4 now. He's actually committed to A5. I'm pointing at A5 with this battery here. Okay. So he didn't use that Knight E4 tactic. Maybe he didn't like it. Knight F4. I'm still losing that pawn. What is the compensation there? I open up the bishop. He's trying to close that bishop. I think this is a chance to protect C2 with my bishop. Although Bishop A4, in fact I could just take that pawn now that my bishop's not on Prix. Bishop takes B4 might be on the cards here. So this is an access path. Bishop G5, Queen H4 is another access kind of path to soft spots, defending H7. For example, Rook F3, H3, attacking H7. So Bishop G5, instead of taking the pawn now, there's no Knight E4. I think I'm pinning that knight. So Queen H4, Rook F3, H3 will be a good route for attack, I think. But what about H6? Okay, H6 could come up very shortly now. I could just sack on H6, Knight H7, Rook F3. His queen's over there. I've got a resource coming in here. I've got Knight G3 to H5 potentially coming in. Maybe I can also double rooks now, the bishop protecting C2. So this is all looking like an attack is brewing here. So rook, if I double rooks, that would make F6 more possible if the knight ever moved. So rook Cf1, rook H3, or rook G3 would threaten bishop F6 and queen F6. If the king moved there, I don't know, a rook here, so imagine king there. What would be a good resource? It just looks good though. It looks as though I've got everything I want from this opening. I've got a beautiful bishop on the diagonal. The rooks can come into the attack. The bishop's also supporting C2. King's out of danger at the moment against vicious tactical ideas on this diagonal. And I've also got a clock advantage, of course, not bad. So, okay, I can take and win a pawn here, but his king's going to evacuate. So I'd rather not do that for a moment. Let's see this instead. I don't want the king evacuating to e7. But knight g3 to h5 would put pressure on f6, taking bishop e7. There's a nice battery here now. So knight g3 to h5. I think. Why not? Okay, he's protected that though in advance. Okay. This might be the time to take on f6 to cash out, really. Because if he ever takes, I get a juicy knight on e4. I'm not only winning h7, this d5 is loose. I'm going to do this. So d5 is loose, otherwise juicy knight if he does take. It looks pretty hot, this position, pretty juicy. As juicy positions go, so okay. Juicy knight. So tactically, bishop f7, knight f6, these are forcing moves. Queen h8, king e7. G4, g5, that looks quite crushing. This diagonal doesn't look up for total punishment anytime soon. If I get that g5 in, it will be very dangerous. But bishop c6, maybe there's h4 there. Okay, he could take, he could sack the exchange, but if I get g5 in, then the bishop goes back. G7 will be lost, so I think I'm going to throw the kitchen sink at the king here with g4 to get g5 in. Then h4 if necessary with bishop c6. So imagine taking an exchange sack, taking, needs time to get his queen on that diagonal, g5, queen c6, g takes. It starts to get dangerous for his king, and also f7 might be looser. The rook is protecting f7, the bishop is protecting f7. Both of these guys go, he's going to lose on time at this rate anyway. Yeah, I think the problems, I don't know, are too much, but I'm going to go with this plan, expecting that one and that one to leave f7. g5, big threat. They both left f7. Now can his queen mate with the rook? Not yet. So if I take on g7, I'll be threatening f7. He goes to d8 maybe? Nope. Interesting. So g takes queen f6. I'm not really convinced about that. Rook d3, this looks, I don't know what that's about. It's about h4. If I move my queen from h4. Okay. Got to be careful. Rook takes d3 looks okay. I can't see any vicious checks. He's lost on time here. Okay, so that was a nice example of this Grand Prix attack. It turned out as it turned out, but I thought, you know, maybe knight takes e4, d3. He breaks my pawn chain up, brings it one step forward, the whole pawn chain. But maybe it's not that brilliant. It depends really. Okay, so the attack seemed to flow quite well. Comments or questions on YouTube? Thanks very much.